ETC versus StrifeCro. There can only be one winner, but there definitely will be one big loser in this matchup, as we have two players fighting for the relegation spot.
Look at it.
Who is going to be staying alive in Grandmasters? Who is going to be unceremoniously and disgracefully exiting Grandmasters? It's not that serious. Yeah. But it's kind of that serious.
I don't know. It's pretty serious.
Almost every Grandmaster across the board has stated that if they dropped out of Grandmasters, they think that Hearthstone Pro career is over. They're probably going to try to explore other things. They don't want to necessarily go back and grind all the way through, but it's just to show the testament of what's at stake, that some of these players' careers are hanging in the balance, TJ. TikTok. I was just adding dramatic sound effects here because we need to up the production value, someone told us, for the Americas.
But we don't have the resources to be able to have a soundboard ourselves. So, unfortunately,
pretend like clicking this.
You just did something. I don't even know what you did. But yeah, it's a big deal. And even though this match itself doesn't make or break the season, there's still a lot that can happen. You know, even StrifeCro's 2 matches behind, 6th place now. But he could still maybe win out from here, maybe other players lose. But if ETC loses here, he's then 2 matches behind StrifeCro and
only 4 matches to play.
With only 4 matches left. Talk.
Only 2 more weeks afterwards. Talk.
But it's
3 spans on both sides.
Well, they're not fooling around.
No
today.
auto wins. Tick.
What?
StrifeCro with the Reno Hunter and the Mech Paladin lineup, but chooses to protect his Control Warrior, while ETC with his Quest Shaman, OTK Paladin, and Malagos Druid. A bunch of combo decks versus a bunch of mid-range decks.
I was going to do it if you didn't do it. I was waiting. But yeah, Shaman protected on the side from ETC. That's interesting. Not many Shaman protects, at least in the past couple weeks. There was 1 week, I think it was week 2, where it was respected a bunch and protected a lot because players thought it was, just the nuts deck. But going into game 1, we are going to see the Shaman taking on the Hunter. And decent opening hand for both players. ETC, Sludge Slipper, Evil Totem, and StrifeCro, some secrets and some minions that have effects when you have secrets. Nice little curve going on here.
Yes, good curve on both ends, to be honest. The Evil Totem is really important in almost every single matchup. Think of it very similar to the Crystal Merchant for Quest Druid. The early game board control, not really going to be a thing for either of those quest decks, but once they get their quest finished and online, they make massive board swings. Hunter is going to need to capitalize on this by having those early game plays, and that's where Sunreaver Spy, Mass Contender, is going to be really big. StrifeCro keeping a secret. He keeps Pressure Plate, which does make sense. Ooh. I like the fact they picked up Dino Timber Brand. That's going to make his mid-game planning very easy. But I was going to say that it's important to pick up a secret that you feel like doesn't activate, because you need to be able to get Sunreaver Spy and Mass Contender up. If you kept Snipe, for example, your opponent's most likely going to trigger it. However, if you look at Quest Shaman's deck list, given that it's a Battlecry deck, it's very heavy on the minions. In fact, the deck often runs 29 minions. Maybe you have an Earthshock in there. Maybe you have a few mutates.
4 spells. That includes Corrupt the Waters. Corrupt the Waters, Earthshock, double mutate.
Yeah, sometimes a Plague of Murlocs, but I've seen sometimes the players just run 0 mutates and just all minions. It's a very minion-heavy deck.
Yeah, this is true. It also is with Shaman, it's a very tough secret to test for. So all of a sudden, ETC, has to keep certain things in mind. Like Rat Trap, for instance, which can be tough for Shaman to play around because they're incentivized for playing a lot of cards each turn.
Yep.
They want to complete that quest, and once they complete that quest, they want to explode the value. So Stormbringer picked up. Now, the other options were pretty terrible. But Stormbringer could be an interesting tool as this game progresses. And
it will be. Given that Hunter doesn't exactly have a lot of wide-sweeping board clears, to the point where it makes you wonder if they should be playing the Swarm of Locust cards so they can have extra AoE, but that's more of a quest hunter build that we've been seeing some hunters play on ladder. Right now, it feels like the Reno hunters effectively just want to play Secret Hunter with a mid-range hunter as finish and in the form of Zul'jin and some Dino Tamer brand combinations that you can use with the Highlander effects. Now, if you look at the data out there, as you kind of progress through the lower ranks to the higher ranks, at the bottom of ranked play, you actually see that Quest Shaman is an underdog versus Reno Hunter. Reno Hunter is the one that usually has the advantage statistically. However, as you get into the higher ranks in Legend, it actually reverses spots. It goes from like a 54-55 edge to from the Hunter to a 54-55 edge to the Shaman, which is a pretty interesting trend because I think it identifies that Shaman's a little bit harder to play from a perspective of this matchup, but also maybe that people get better at playing around Hunter because they're acknowledging their secrets and trying to diffuse them.
Yeah, that is interesting because I think that Highlander Hunter is also a relatively difficult deck to pilot.
Interesting. Do you think so?
I do.
Oh, wow, what a pickup.
Hyena Alpha, very nice.
Yeah, it is annoying that the 4-1 survives, but the fact that you still get to get ahead on board. And everything that you're able to stick on board and be ahead makes Dino Tamer brand that much stronger.
Of course it's the right way.
Another good pickup here from ETC. He was kind of weak on the board development tools. I'm kind of liking just MC tech. I think a 3-3 is very reasonable to find the board in this spot.
Yeah, and if your plan is to trade off as much as possible, then MC Tech is not really going to get much value anyway in the matchup. And just, in general, Hunter is not a deck that goes wide outside of Unleash the Hounds, which, a lot of times they're trading in. And even then, it's not a huge MC Tech target. Yeah, I like just having a 3-3 to kind of fight for the board.
Waters have been corrupted. And StrifeCro just keeps drawing the minion on curve. That's actually kind of ridiculous. This is like the Tavern Brawl, where like on turn 1 you draw 1, on turn 2 you draw 2. Goes all the way. Turn 4 you draw Hyena, turn 5 you draw the Ziliax.
Yeah, they base that Tavern Brawl off of Highlander decks because it always seems like they just draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 every game.
I guess the question can become if StrifeCro should even do that, given that, well, one, Mind Control tech's been played, so extending onto the board isn't nearly as punishing as it usually is. Two is that, he could utilize Ziliax in a better spot because it has Rush versus developing Ursatron, drawing the Snip Snap, planning out turn 6, also is a viable threat. Kind of hard to turn down being ahead. Funny enough, by the way, the Stormbringer and Pressure Plate, I wonder how that dynamic goes out because I have never actually seen that resolve in that way.
Well, it gives you a legendary minion and then it gets killed.
Right.
If you have one minion on the board, obviously. But it will kill a minion after the Stormbringer effect goes off.
It's definitely after, not before.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
It says after you play a spell.
Yeah.
Lot of annoying minions on the board. Deadly Shot is one of the weakest cards against Shaman, given their plethora of 1/1 minions.
There's actually not that many powerful board control tools in this deck to begin with. Shaman just has a lot of way to test for secrets in like a meaningful way. Pressure Plate they often don't have to worry about. Rat Trap, because of the hero power, sometimes they can play around it.
I wonder.
Snipe, they just throw an evil gator right into it. They're good to go. But StrifeCro going to try and make as powerful of a board here as possible going into the Dino Tamer brand turn.
Yeah, also recognizes that getting this Shimmerfly played now to contest the board a little bit is good, plus needs to restrict his board for Dino Tamer Bran as well, so doesn't want it to play into my control check.
The arcane.
Snipe just taking down a Lackey, which, I mean, StrifeCro knew that Lackey was there. Just wants to make sure the board is not way out of control. Oh my goodness! The Shirvala gets summoned by the Stormbringer, but the pressure plate ends that immediately. And now StrifeCro has seen the Stormbringer, but, you know, honestly, some pretty good tempo still generated. He converted a couple of 1-1s into a 5-6, into a 1-2.
That's interesting to me. That after ETC saw the snipe, he didn't push face damage because he had tested for snipe previously. So he knew that the first secret that was played wasn't a snipe, and he had hit face, so he knew that the second secret, that the first secret was an explosive trap. So he saw the snipe trigger, and then missed the 2 damage push to face in a situation where he had narrowed down the other secret, which he knew was the first secret, down to rat trap or pressure plate. So small thing, but did miss 2 damage in that situation that he could have pushed.
And that damage could end up mattering. A lot of times the Shaman needs to be able to count the exact damage they really need. King Crush to the face.
Oh, yeah.
He's going all face. No fear of the mind control tech.
He's seen one. ETC actually only plays one. So,
right.
Smart.
So, interestingly enough, Varisa Windrunner, the 7-man legendary that's on the board, actually is a Battlecry minion, so you can equip not 1, but 2 Thoradals, the Star's Fury, which is a weapon that gives you spell damage when you attack for the turn. It's a very weird card, but a pretty interesting one.
Did you play World of Warcraft, The Burning Crusade, Dan?
TJ, you already know the answer to that.
The answer is a resounding yes.
Deadly shot for big damage. Does not get it. But he can still use the Spellbreaker here to follow up.
Yeah, and get that 8 damage in. Whoa.
That's also pretty tempting. It's actually very tempting. But I think the Spellbreaker getting an 8 damage is a little bit hard to miss right now, because Beta Arrow can also go face.
Yep.
And, you know, maybe you just use Beta Arrow to end the game. StrifeCro, if he plays a Secret Keeper, ETC has a Annoyatron and a Mind Control Tech in the Shutterwalk pool, so he could be playing directly into ETC's hand, chooses to pass.
Yep.
An excellent choice.
Yep. He disrespected Mind Control Tech last turn because there was no threat of it. There was only one. It had been killed. Shutterwalk was still a turn off, so smart of him to hold back this turn, because if ETC had played Shutterwalk and King Crush had been stolen, likely would have been game over for StrifeCro.
Agreed.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Spells and lackeys.
Fourth Lightning.
Because Sorcerer's Apprentice is on board, it becomes playable. And now can kill off King Crush. It was already a little bit of an awkward situation for StrifeCro, but definitely got even more awkward now. But Baited Arrow's 3 damage, and over the course of 2 turns, you can push forth the hero power plus kill command. That would be 10 damage. If you pick up a beast, which he does not have access to easily.
He would need 3 turns, and because it doesn't look like he has that kind of time, he may need to Baited Arrow the Sorcerer's Apprentice here.
Well, he's also got bigger problems, which is, what if ETC just copies the Shutterwalk?
Yeah.
Not necessarily copies, but bounces it. And I think that with this setup here, ETC should be able to start gravitating towards a way to win the game here. He has to defuse a secret. First, it looks like it's Explosive Trap, so that's the deception there. But first things first, pretty sure if I'm ETC, I'm looking for an opportunity to draw into Life Drinker and bounce a Shutterwalk. So in this position, the only secrets you haven't seen yet are Snake Trap, Explosive Trap, Rat Trap. Everything else you've seen. Finds a Life Drinker. Could actually end up just playing Life Drinker now, bouncing the Shutterwalk, but I think bouncing a Shutterwalk is more important right now, because you can gain the life afterwards. Your opponent just used Baited Arrow too.
We'll proc Rat Trap.
Oh, it will. And I wonder if Unleash the Hounds here is a punish.
There's 6 minions on board, so Unleash the Hound would be full. He needs exactly 6 damage to push through. It wouldn't be.
Well, see, it wouldn't be enough damage to end the game.
But it would put him down to...
But it put it down to like a
3.
dangerous life total.
Yeah, he could hit face and also push the hero power. Yeah, he pushed the hero power, so put him down to 3, which means that he would die to like a kill command off the top.
Assuming he doesn't have the Life Drinker.
But he does.
Yeah, and I think that's why ETC prioritizing the card draw is something that I was a big fan of, because I wanted to get the Life Drinker. You have all of the value in the world. You just need the life now. StrifeCro not developing the Snip Snap on the previous turn also means that he can't chew through these Annoytrons very effectively.
I moves quickly.
In a couple of turns of StrifeCro not being able to hero power. Been a huge annoyance, to say the least.
It's quite a poor spot, and even if we look at the opportunity for StrifeCro to get a Zul'jin off the top, he hasn't played many super impactful spells onto the board. In fact, he's only played a Deadly Shot. Everything else is a secret. He's played Freezing Trap, Pressure Plate, Rat Trap, Snipe, and a Deadly Shot.
He did play the Baited Arrow.
Oh, and Baited Arrow, that's correct. But he would need some pretty fortunate outcomes in order to make this happen. But, I mean, ETC's kind of giving him a little bit of time.
Right, like ETC trading in the Cobalt Lackey and what looks like to be just full trades on the board altogether. It's definitely a very reasonable line of play. Part of me thinks that he could even set this up in some capacity to not have to be as careful, because you can like set your opponent to have a 2-turn kill based on how much resources you have. But I don't think it matters that much right now.
Well, StrifeCro can pick apart a good chunk of this board right now. Spring Paw, double Spring Paw, and then you unleash the beast over the...
Yeah, the problem is the Shutterwalk that he knows is in the hand.
Yeah, but I think he has to kind of react to that when it happens, right? It's at this point he doesn't have a choice but to keep trucking along. Obviously, the situation is quite terrible for him.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of amazed here that Shaman isn't so firm of a control of this situation. Given that StrifeCro had the early game Secret curve, he had Dynasty Brand on curve. He even got some pretty decent options off of the random generation like Shimmerfly. I mean, this might just be a setup for lethal in the next couple turns.
It definitely is. Next turn, Hero Power, double Goblin Lackey, Weaponized Wasp.
You can even just double Weaponized Wasp here too, it's fine. Another alternative I thought was Mogu Flesh Saber, Goblin Lackey traded in, just go all phase. Then you have Goblin Lackey with the double Weaponized Wasp.
Yeah. That's what I was looking at too.
Because you have 11 on board, and you just have to have one weaponized wasp.
Yeah, it maximizes the amount of face damage, but this is plenty. He's putting StrifeCro down to 17. He's got 14 on board with the possibility for 10 from hand.
Yeah, and like decent cards from StrifeCro. It's just that they're not enough right now. And the Quest Shaman is too strong in this position.
Highlander Hunter continues to unimpress, Dan.
Specifically in the Americas, Reno Hunter is performing better in Asia Pacific. Still definitely a point of concern, which is why is it that this deck is struggling so much? And it's possibly because I think the deck doesn't have that many ways to vary up its pattern of play, TJ.
Yeah. This is exact lethal, I believe, with the double Goblin Lackey plus weaponized wasp. That's 10 damage with 7 on board.
That's going to do it for game number 1. ETC gets on the board early and is 1 game away from equalizing with StrifeCro. Tick.
There you go. Yeah. Don't leave me hanging. Yeah, it's a
leave you hanging, TJ.
pretty big one. It feels like, I mean, ETC looks like he's under more pressure right now than he has been at any point in Grandmaster, and I understand why.
There's less time.
There's less time. There it is.
All right, let's go to break. We're going to take our first break of Super Saturday. When we come back, we're going to find out just how much time remains for both of these two players in this series.
Legends say powerful treasures are hidden everywhere here in Aldum.
If we hope to defeat Rafam, we'll need as many as we can get. He's already unleashed the ancient plague lords and countless monsters. Keep them distracted, Reno.
Not a problem. This plan is totally gonna work. Ain't that right, Finley?
Oh, yes! I have them right where I want them.
There is an artifact here. The name is...
The scales of justice. Oh, it must be really fancy.
only to be used in a time of great peril. Yes, I think this qualifies.
Hey, look, Finley. You've lured one of the plague lords.
Take this, fiend!
In the face! Yeah! Hey, guys, get that treasure. We've got a plague lord to destroy.
Yes, please, hurry!
Not to worry, Finley. We just push this thing right here.
No, that's a trap! Watch out!
It's all good. I am totally tired.
Gracious me!
What we actually need to do is press this. And there.
A
Fish.
No! It's the scales of justice!
Oh. Ah, who wants to use it first?
Oh, I do. Me. On second thought, maybe give it to Finley?
All you had to do is hold a rope.
Here we go, blaming the tall, ruggedly handsome guy again.
My name is Fei Liang. My handle is ETC. Before Hearthstone, I was playing World of Warcraft, and when I saw Elite Tauren shift, and I think the card is pretty cool, I'm gonna try it. I think the style I like the most is combo deck, because there are a lot of win conditions, and there are a lot of ways you can win the game. My son plays Hearthstone sometimes.
Is he good?
He got rank 9. He likes Zoo list.
Are you going to teach your daughter to play Hearthstone?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think that she'll be better than him?
Probably yes, because I think my daughter is way smarter than my boy. Getting #1 in Grandmaster is gonna totally change my life. I think it proved myself, and my kids are gonna be proud of me.
Coming next for game number 2 in this fated duel for last place in Division A is a Paladin versus Paladin. However, is it exactly what you've come to expect? Not quite. We have OTK Holy Wrath Paladin going up against Mechanical Paladin. And it is going to be quite the barn burner, TJ, because like Reno Hunter, Mech Paladin has been sucking lately.
It has.
Yeah.
But it makes me sad because I like the deck a lot, and I don't think that the play we've seen thus far on stream with the deck has been up to the standard that I expect as a Mech Paladin, I don't know, enthusiast, I guess is the right word for it. I wouldn't call myself an
Aficionado.
I wouldn't call myself like an expert or anything. I've been playing the deck a lot. I think that I'm good, but I don't think that I'm great. But I think that I understand a lot of matchups and how they should work. It's just executing can sometimes be the tough part for me, as with anything that I do. But let's go ahead and get into the game. ETC, hey, he struggled a little bit on the Holy Wrath Paladin. I will say that. It's not. I don't think he's playing poorly, but I don't think some of the turns that he's been playing like 100% optimally. And when you're playing against the best players in your region, or some of them at least, a lot of times you do have to play pretty optimally or you're going to get punished. And I think that ETC, in the first couple weeks, wasn't playing that well. And then he did start playing well, but he wasn't getting rewarded for it. And that's the punish that you get for having a few bad weeks, that you can fall ever far behind. Mech Paladin in this matchup, it can get off to a very fast start, but it's about finding a balance because it is a deck that relies on having a board, and a big board at that. You don't have any from-hand damage outside of magnetizes, so if you don't have anything to magnetize onto, you're
Reporting for duty.
beholden to the top deckerinos. One thing I do like about StrifeCro's Mech Paladin is that it runs the double Blessing of Wisdom. So if you can make a big minion early and stick a Blessing of Wisdom on it, oftentimes you can be rewarded. Subdue in ETC's hand is going to be a big deal as well, because he can use it early to kind of just get a minion out of the way to make sure that he has time to find his big removal spells when he needs them towards that mid game, when StrifeCro's hand can get pretty explosive.
Converting stored energy.
I feel like in this matchup, very similar to other slow ones, you just want to be able to punish very heavily for your opponent not having the right removal at the right time. This one does kind of hurt when it's subdued.
But at least he gets to draw.
Right, at least he gets to draw, and also by splitting this, he sets up 2 mechs that he can kind of build off of as a foundation. And ETC can't remove both of them. And that it's important that he keeps these magnetic buffs for the Inevitable Kangor's Endless Army, because that is a card that is very problematic for the Paladin, because Paladin has one big clear, but they have a tough time dealing with death rattles.
ETC looking like going for Coin Prismatic Lens here. Be a very aggressive use of Prismatic Lens, but getting the coin out of hand, getting Prismatic Lens out of the way before the board gets out of control. It does get a decent swap. Picks up Hammer Breath. Double Faceless.
Double faces is often a hand that we see happening a lot, and it's just overall really poor.
Yeah. I wonder if StrifeCro feels the need to kind of keep going on this with the Bronze Gatekeeper. The Galvanizer target is a more ideal faces target because right now his hand is kind of lacking and he wants to be able to continue drawing cards, but he's not guaranteed to get the rush in if ETC weren't to play a minion.
Access denied.
So even though it would be extra damage in order to stack it onto the Glowtron Skater Bot hybrid, it is just better overall with the faceless. To be able to put it on the Galvanizer, but it's punished by Subdued Hammer Breath, which is not the combination you expect. StrifeCro expected this to live at least one more turn to be able to get the faceless benefit off it. So I like StrifeCro's play. ETC just had a nice punish for it. He didn't see Christology, so Subdue plus Elven Archer wasn't really something that was on his mind, I'm sure. Ugh.
Needs as much tempo as he can get, even if it's just a 3-4 right now. Christology picks up more card draw. Seems like an opportunity for ETC to contemplate how much he wants to card draw in this spot, because it is an easy way for him to potentially lose the game if he doesn't get Shirvala and he gets burned. So if he wants to take a safe route, he could, for example, just play Crystal Smith Kangor. Another thing to consider is that maybe something that we saw in the previous series leading up into Hearthstone Grandmasters for America was playing Baleful Banker and not having to use it as a combo deal, just as tempo on the board.
Yeah.
Again, it's not because it's a good play that turn. It's because, think about it in the big picture, do you need 2 copies of Baleful Bankers to win this game? Maybe. Maybe not.
Well, Ziliax is a massive punish in this deck. Because if you use that Baleful Banker and StrifeCro gets a Ziliax able to hold on to it, he can magnetize a massive minion and then get out of range of even like some Zephyrus options. So I think that ETC wants to see a little bit about how this game state is going to go before he wants to use a Baleful Banker liberally, because he understands that Ziliax could be a potential punish if he uses one early and can never make up that damage.
Sure. Your opponent, if they see that you're throwing away resources liberally, it might change the way they're approaching the matchup entirely.
Yep.
We've seen that happen before, and some players have gotten punished for that.
Yep. ETC picks up Wild Pyromancer, and I think there's a lot of merit here to just getting the removal out of the way. Wild Pyromancer quality. StrifeCro is only really going to be threatening ETC if he has a mech on the board to keep magnetizing. And if he gets greedy here, he would be heavily punished if StrifeCro picks up a Mechano Egg or has one in hand that he just hasn't wanted to play because he's wanted to keep pressuring.
Yeah, Mechano Egg's super crucial for how the Mech Paladin wants to build their board.
I wonder.
Not seeing it has to be a relief for ETC. Also, no Glowstone Technician. This deck's been fighting, honestly, a little bit too fair. That's just kind of what's been going on here for Mech Paladin. They're not swapping their cost. They're not, like,
Oh my gosh.
stacking an advantage. The Christology
That draws
here.
nothing.
Really?
Yeah, draws nothing. He's played both Bronze Gatekeepers, both Galvanizers, both Skater Bots,
Let
and both
me
Glowtrons.
think.
That is a dead draw from StrifeCro. Wow. That's pretty brutal, honestly.
It's pretty brutal, but it's not a situation that you can really think about right now. So what can StrifeCro do in this situation? Face Manipulator hero power? That's what I'm thinking.
Converting stored energy.
Reporting Reporting for duty.
Now we're at the point where ETC needs to not be greedy.
He has all the cards he really needs at this point. In fact, I think a Pyromancer equality here is perfectly fine.
Yeah. I wouldn't have even hated it last turn, to be honest. Just to get minions off the board and not allow StrifeCro to get use out of a lot of cards in his hand that he needs a board to be able to do.
Yeah, StrifeCro needs to get this damage in. Like, he needs to get all 11 into the face, and in order to have a chance to win. Mag Paladin does not deal damage from the hand. They really deal damage from whatever's existing on board and magnetizing onto it. Every card's a buff card. It seems like ATC agrees.
Yeah, I like it.
Such an awkward series of draws here for StrifeCro. Just way too slow. And it's starting to get to the point where I'm really wondering if there's any way for him to win this game anymore.
It's a Kangors in this army. That's pretty much it. He does have some big mechs in the pool. The Glotron, Skaterbot, Bronze Gatekeeper. To be honest, actually, they're not that big.
Let me think.
It's pretty interesting that,
Reporting for duty.
you know, StrifeCro, by what he says is this deck is so effective on ladder and it does so well for him and he's able to beat so many matchups, but I mean, it's just in practice for tournaments, it's just underperforming so many times. Is it because of variance? Or is it because
I hope you like my
this deck is just not the bring?
One shot, one.
It's just so feast or famine. Imagine a world where that Galvanizer with Blessing and Wisdom stuck onto the board on turn 4. He gets to faceless that, draw multiple cards, and all of a sudden his hand's looking better, and ETC's removal options are slim. He has to go in with Pyromancer equality earlier, and all of a sudden StrifeCro's options are much larger because he'd be 2, potentially more cards deeper into his deck, and ETC would have less card draw and less removal because he'd have to use all of those things earlier. So it does just hinge on whether or not you can stick your early mech. Kind of like Priest in that way, though its comeback potential on the board is not as powerful because you don't have tools like Northshire Cleric and Wild Pyromancer and Circle of Healing to get a big burst of cards at once. You have Kangors in this army, and that's a way more inconsistent version.
Reporting for duty.
And now he has to play a missile launcher on the board with no magnetic that gets eaten up by the True Silver Champion that's already equipped, and he has no follow-up in his hand. This game's looking pretty done for StrifeCro.
Yeah, I feel like this is just desperation time. He's just clawing onto anything that can stick onto the board, but not many things will stick.
And there's not even much punish
for
ETC here. Like his, even if he gets Prismatic Lens and swaps a card with Shirvala, it's not that big of a deal since he already has both Holy Rats and both Baleful Bankers in hand.
Move quickly.
So what can you even really do in this spot then? I guess you just have to kind of hope that you draw the Kangors Endless Army and that's it.
Well, there is a potential punish here for the Acolyte of Pain if StrifeCro were to pick up Kangor's Endless Army. He did have a... no, he didn't. He had a Skaterbot Glotron Bronze Gatekeeper. I was thinking maybe he could overdraw him if he picked up a small minion with Rush and then also the Missile Launcher.
I wonder.
He could potentially force an overdraw, which could hit Shirvala since he hasn't drawn it yet. But didn't pick up Kangor's Endless Army, which means that...
I mean, his mechanic's still nice.
Yeah, at this point, EC's got 6 cards left in deck.
You can just hex the Volcano Egg too.
Protocol set.
Yep, looking like an opportunity for ATC to really capitalize here with the Zephyrus. But everything should look good for him to finish up this game.
Yeah.
And TJ, you know, I love me some StrifeCro. I love me some Mech Paladin. My games have been very reflective of what's happening in front of you.
He's trying to guarantee Hex.
Right. I think so. If you play, he's trying to think about playing Prismatic Lens, so then he plays Zephyrs for 2 more mana, and that leaves him with 4.
I wonder.
Giving you the best options against a big Death Rattle minion with 4 remaining. Most likely will offer you some kind of Hex. I think ETC's trying not to overdraw, but honestly, with 2 Baleful Bankers, Shirvala, and 2 Hoyras, he still holds on to anything. Maybe a timeout?
Okay, Spellbreaker.
Your magic shall not save you.
Reporting over duty.
Oh, interesting.
Dan, this is brutal.
It's pretty brutal to watch. Yeah, not gonna lie, this is definitely super one-sided, and you know, it's something that feels like it's been very over for a while. StrifeCro's best play is actually to just clear the board, because he might just be taking too much damage from the Holy Wrath.
Yeah, honestly, his best out here is ETC messing up the combo.
Sure.
Which is
Unlikely.
Very unlikely.
You can see he's drawing the last few cards in his deck. It really doesn't matter what he draws here. You can just play everything else. In fact, Flash of Light seals the deal. And ETC with the deep breath, recognizing how important it was to win this game, win this series. And now the final stretch for the last 2 weeks has been set. StrifeCro and ETC, both players tied at 2 and 8. The last 4 games are going to determine it all, TJ.
Yeah, it's been a while since ETC's picked up a win, honestly. It even feels like he's been struggling to get single game wins. So, a big one for him.
Yep.
And that race is now a little bit closer.
That's right.
For relegation.
And he has a head-to-head, you know, improving the standings for himself against StrifeCro. As going into this match, ETC being down 1 and 8 record. If he went to 1 and 9 and StrifeCro improved to 3 and 7, it probably was looking lights out for him.
Yeah. So kind of a must-win situation, and gets the job done. And again, both Highlander Hunter and Mech Paladin, they seem good in theory. The way it's been explained to us, it's like, wow, those decks seem like they'd be great in this metagame. Just not working out in practice.
Not working out in practice, TJ.
2 weeks in a row now, StrifeCro has brought this lineup, and he was rewarded last week at least once. He had one good series, but since then it's just been kind of downhill.
Let's go ahead and check in with ETC, who is joining us on the line. ETC, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hey, long time no see, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, Cypher Sorais. Talk to us. How is everything in your camp? It's been quite a hard season for you.
I really don't know. I ask myself if I'm better at this. I don't know. Actually, I put a lot of time in this season. I prepare with Monsanto, Reese, and Eddie for most of the time, and they know I put a lot of time. It's like probably more than 6 hours per day, and I practice again. But I don't know why. I just could not, play the GM matches like when I play ladder. It looks like so differently.
Is it that you, like other players are talking about losing focus during these matches, and is that the same thing happening for you when you're playing your Grandmasters matches versus playing on ladder?
I don't know. I'm looking for the answer as well. I really don't know why. And also I told my like a couple days ago I told my son my son asking me how was my GM is going, and I told him your dad was performing pretty badly and probably gonna be relegated, and my son was kind of sad, but he told me that I knew you tried, you did your best, so don't worry about the results, just focus on game. I could not imagine that was a 9-year-old kid told me, so I got confident. But I don't know why it's again. Just the same thing happened again and again and again.
Well, one thing's for sure is that 9-year-old kid sure has a great dad.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
You should be really proud if you put in the time and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit.
I'm not gonna give up.
Oh hell no, you're not giving up. That's
Yeah,
not.
I'm
You
not
still have
gonna
2
give
weeks,
up.
4 matches to play.
Yeah. I mean, even if I got relegated, I give myself 1 year to try the Hearthstone. It's still half a year, so I probably will keep going.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still a couple of other cool events happening in Bucharest and whatnot, so let's keep the dream alive. Let's talk a little bit about the series between you and StrifeCro. I mean, it's a weird lineup that he has. The Aggro Warrior, the Mech Paladin. Did that scare you at all going to the series?
I actually for this match, I practiced with myself for 8 hours. I tried every matchup, and I ended up with 2 options. One is shield my priest and ban his shield my priest, ban his warrior, and or shield my shaman, ban his paladin. But those were all based on he shielded his priest, because all of my decks are bad against the priest. My expectation is he 100% shielded his priest, but I don't know why he shielded his warrior. So I was happy about it. So I just banned his priest.
Sure. I mean, that kind of surprised us too, because he shielded his warrior, and we accidentally thought it was control warrior for half a second. And then it was like, oh, it's aggro warrior. So
And then he didn't play it either.
He didn't play it either.
Yeah.
So very interesting dynamic back and forth, but definitely a lot to think about. All right, ET, we're out of time for now, but I know this isn't the last time we're going to be talking to you. So good luck for the rest of your matches this season.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.